Okay, everybody, how are we doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Lighting sucks. We're back in the original room, and my face, you can barely see it. But for today, just what we got to deal with. My apologies. I can't work with the sun. I can't work with a lot of things in my life. So, welcome back. Big episode today. We are previewing some stuff that you guys might or might not care about. So I think it will be right to get the stuff that we care about out of the way first. So, what is going on today? We have the NBA playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs are heating up. PGA Championship is this week. And we actually finished qualifying for the Olympic soccer tournament. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit here as well. But just a couple of announcements. This week we'll talk on Friday French Open, updates on PGA, and a couple of other notes from the playoffs, etc., etc. And of course, we're breaking down the schedule release on Friday, and I might be bringing in a guest to break down the schedule release. Big other update. I will be featuring on the Sports Come First podcast, most likely in their next episode. I think we're recording it tomorrow, and you guys make sure to follow Sports Come First. Kyle, great guy. Love talking to him. We'll be doing another show probably, like I said, probably tomorrow. I don't know. But make sure to check out Sports Come First only on Spotify. But let's start with the big deal of the weekend. The English Premier League. We are down to our last full week of this season. And as I get my thing prepared for what we will be experiencing today, the week itself was kind of nuts. We had a lot of interesting results, and we also know who is officially getting relegated. Let's talk about it. And as I will now share my screen to show you guys all the results from the week. This is Saturday. We'll talk about Arsenal United in a moment. The big deal was Burnley. They dropped points. They were at level with Spurs, and they gave themselves a chance, but they could not come out with a win. Burnley is going down. Chelsea on the bottom. They got a big win against Nottingham Forest late in the day to keep themselves in position for a European place. We had Wolves, who collapsed against a red-hot Crystal Palace team to end the season. They have looked great. Though they might be selling players in the summer. We don't know, because it's Crystal Palace. No one knows nothing. We had a very interesting game in the midfield. Newcastle, who have the battle of teams that have fallen off the map, they drew Brighton, a game I did not expect to be a result like this, for how good Newcastle have been at home this season. So Newcastle went out and drew Brighton, because that makes sense. Brentford, big result for Brentford in a game that doesn't matter to anyone. Well, nobody probably really cared about it that much because Brentford went out and beat Bournemouth 2-1. Didn't really expect it, but listen, it's a game that I didn't have a lot of confidence in for anyone. Brentford, the Bees, who've had a very disappointing season, I projected them to be in the top 10. They're towards the bottom, I think around 14th or 15th. We'll look at the table in a moment. Big struggle this season from Brentford. We know they're staying up. I mean, it's official that they're staying up. But good job going out there and beating a really solid Bournemouth team. Everton went out and beat Sheffield United 1-0 because why not? But the big one for me, other than Man City beating up Fulham, let's break this game down. Luton is going down. And they do it by the most Luton way possible. They go up early with a goal by Sambi Lokonga. And Luton, first half, dominated. They looked so much better than West Ham United. They were able to connect more passes. They got more chances. Then the second half started, and West Ham flipped the switch. And West Ham being great in the second half this year, Luton struggling after scoring first. James Ward-Prowse scored. Then Souček. And then the nail in the coffin with George Earthy finishing the deal, and West Ham with a great 3-1 victory over Luton Town. Luton is pretty much toast because of their goal difference. Even if they win, they're going down. It sucks because Luton had a lot of promise. They did. They were the best team that came up in terms of quality. They brought a lot to the table. Not a lot of people had confidence in them. They played some great games. They won, but the problem for them, and I'll bring it up now, 1-goal losses from Luton. You had the 1-goal loss to Arsenal. They had the 1-goal loss to countless others. Manchester United, for example. They drew Liverpool. Because that makes sense. Let me stop sharing. Let's go over Luton's schedule. Because this has to be talked about. And this is the why they're going down. I'm going to bring it up for you guys. Because this is actually a great spectacle. Because this needs to be understood for how good this team actually played. And I don't know if you could really justify it. Because I remember the first video, after the video I did with Dylan, we started off losing 4-1, 3-0. Concerning. They 1-goal loss to West Ham. 1-goal loss to Fulham. Drew Wolves. Great result. They beat Everton for their first ever Premier League win. Beautiful work. 1-goal loss. 1-goal loss at home. They drew Nottingham Forest. Good result. Lost 3-1 to Villa. Drew Liverpool. Okay. 1-goal loss to United. Heartbreak. They beat Palace. Great. They lost to Brentford. That's awful. And then we have this stretch in December. 1-goal loss to Arsenal. 1-goal loss to City. They upset Newcastle. They beat Sheffield. 1-goal loss again. Draw. Bad draw, by the way. This is going to really come back to haunt them, too. They run over Brighton. Revenge from week 1. They play an awesome game at Newcastle. Then they choke it. They lost to Sheffield. Another 1-goal loss to United. Lost 4-1 to Liverpool. They deserved it. 1-goal loss to Villa. Dropped points against Palace. 1-goal loss to Bournemouth. 1-goal loss to Spurs. 1-goal loss to Bournemouth again. And the trend goes on and on and on. Drop points against Everton. The amount of 1-goal losses this team has is truly special. Not because I've never seen it before. We could talk about how good they outperformed expectations for them. The problem is that I don't think they're going to come back up right away. I don't think so. Leicester was able to do it because Leicester are a great team. And they deserve to come back up. But teams like Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield, I think they'll all struggle. But the only manager that I think should keep his job is Rob Edwards at Luton. Because what he had to work with in the situation that he was in, I can't justify him getting sacked. You can't justify it. Vincent Kompany I kind of get because his defense has been awful. Sheffield United's manager already got sacked, and their interim manager is probably getting sacked too. We'll see how that goes later. To continue the situation of nothing making any sense, Arsenal went out and played their worst game of the season, arguably one of their worst games of the season, and went out and beat Manchester United 1-0. The goal, a ball over the top to Trossard, who was kept on sides by Casemiro because he doesn't know any center back positioning. This is a ball wide to Havertz. My mistake. Havertz cuts it in, finds Trossard in the middle. It's a golazo, and that's all that happened. Arsenal win 1-0 in the most undeserving one of the more undeserving wins they've had this season. Because let's go over some numbers. Who had more XG? United. Who had more chances? United. And who was better on the ball in possession? For the majority of it, Manchester United. Arsenal won, but they looked bad doing it. And what was funny after was how City fans are like, thanks for nothing, United. Now they have to do all the work themselves. That's how it should be. I mean, I think it's pathetic that Arsenal fans have to rely on Tottenham today. But listen, if Arsenal lose the title, they know where it came from. Manchester City has been on a tear since December. Arsenal dropped points to Fulham. But it's a lot of would've, could've, should've. But we'll talk about more Arsenal at the end of the season once we get to that point. Good result for Arsenal in terms of getting 3 points. Putting pressure on Spurs and City, who play today. And we'll talk about that game in a moment since it's about to kick off at the time of recording this video. Arsenal get the result. They looked awful doing it. Aston Villa drew Liverpool, which awesome game that I didn't really get to watch a lot of. Back and forth, Liverpool go 3-1 up. Aston Villa comes back. Emi Martinez has the worst mistake of the season by far. And that's your result. 3-3 draw. And now that sets up for your fixture today between Spurs and City. I will be probably watching it. It's at 3 o'clock Eastern, so it'll be. This is the timer. This is you know I record videos late. I don't know. There's like background noise. I don't know if you can hear it, but we will find out soon later when this video is in post production. City and Tottenham. If Man City wins this game, they are probably champions. But it could come down to the final day. And it's going to come down to the final day regardless. Because look who City finished it off with. City, in their last 2 games, play Spurs away. And then finish off with a West Ham team that's going to cause problems. So City have it all to play for. You go out and you drop points against Spurs. Arsenal are winning the title most likely because of goal difference. I mean, quickly, let's look at the table. Arsenal are 1 point clear. A draw would put all of them at 37 matches and will be 86 and 86 in terms of points. Arsenal finish with Everton at home. City play West Ham at home. Arsenal are going to have problems with Everton. But I don't know if City should be focused on West Ham. They shouldn't, because they have to get the job done against Tottenham. Now, I don't know who Tottenham is throwing out on the field. I know Tottenham fans want Postecoglou to throw out the entire reserves, which, fair. But let's actually take a look at the lineups. Spurs are going with the 4-3-3 traditional, as they've gone all season, with Dragusin, Romero, Porro, and Van de Ven. They haven't really changed. They've gone more of the same. City went Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Gvardiol. Gvardiol's played great recently, and that's going to be one of the better signings of the season for sure. With Akanji, Kovacic with Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Foden with Haaland. Up top with the 4-2-3-1. You're going to see the wings really try to push up the field. No Doku. I don't know what happened to him. I think he actually got injured. Or he's on the bench, so I don't know. He might be coming back from injury. But I'm interested to see how the midfield plays, especially over here. It's going to be the battle of the midfield. Because looking at these 3 midfielders, they're all guys who don't really get up the field that much. In comparison, you have Rodri, who's going to be playing on this side, who knows how to get up the field, but can also hold back and slide into the middle here, if you can see where my cursor is. I believe you guys can see it. You have a guy in the middle, and Kevin De Bruyne, who's going to push up through the channels. Same with Foden. Same with Bernardo Silva. They know how to come out. They know how to whip across in towards Haaland. And then he's going to cause a lot of problems for the guys to the 4 in the back. Now, for the 4 in the back, I think this is the 4 best defenders that Spurs can throw out on the field right now. You have Van de Ven, fastest center back, one of the best center backs in the league this season. Christian Romero, who's had a lot of good Premier League experience. Porro, who's been on fire this season in terms of quality. Radu Dragusin, I'm not really sure about. I would have liked to see maybe more of a Emerson Royale or someone like that, because Emerson Royale has been pretty decent, I think, at least in terms of quality. Vicario has been solid. Great value signing from the season, Vicario. It's going to be a dogfight, and I'm really intrigued to see how it goes, but if I had to give a result, I'm going to think City wins this 2-1, but I think Spurs will cause some problems. It's just going to come out. It's just going to come out and say, who wants to win this game? Do Tottenham actually want to compete? Because Tottenham have not been good recently. So if you think about it, they need to have to really compete in order to go out there and get a result today. I think so, at least. Tomorrow we have Brighton and Chelsea in a game that matters to no one other than Chelsea. I can't even watch this game because it's on Peacock. I think Chelsea win this to continue their awesome form. The big fact was I think are they've gained the 4th most points since Christmas, or 3rd most points since Christmas now. I don't know, but it's in that type of range. They've been great. Cole Palmer's been awesome for them. A great signing by Chelsea. He might be signing of the season, honestly. And when you think about the England national team, heck, you can probably see Cole Palmer start a couple of games in the Euros. Just throwing it out there. And then we have United against Newcastle. This game, I don't think a lot of people are going to pay attention to. United, I don't even know who they start. Newcastle are going to probably go off with a win. I think this is a draw, but I think Newcastle will go for it because they kind of have to. And then you have the last day, which we are going to break down all of the chaos on Friday's video, including the two games that will be to win the title: Arsenal, Everton, City, West Ham, and I'll tell you everyone how to watch those games. I won't be streaming because I have somewhere to be. So I won't be able to stream the full games watch along with you guys, which is unfortunate. But that's just the way it is. But we'll talk about more on Friday because it's going to be a very intriguing final day, especially if City drop points today. To keep with the soccer theme, I'm just going to quickly talk about the Olympics because we now know who is in the tournament. Let's break down your teams. So welcome to the Olympics, because why not? France is here. They are the hosts. Out of Africa, we have, they take a look down here. We have Morocco, Egypt, Mali, and Guinea. Asia, we have Japan, Uzbekistan, and Iraq. CONMEBOL, we have Paraguay and Argentina. Oceania is New Zealand, because who else would it be other than the Solomon Islands? CONCACAF, it's not Honduras, despite them hosting. It's the United States in a rising Dominican Republic squad. And, of course, out of the Euros of Europe, we have Spain, the Israeli national team, and Ukraine. And, of course, as mentioned, France is hosting. Let's explain how this tournament works. It is an under-23s tournament. Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, you will probably not know a lot of the players on some of these teams. Unless you, follow the younger players or whatever. But the rules are you could call up 3 over 23 players, and everyone else has to be under 23, and that's the only rule for the men's tournament. Women's tournament, you can call up whoever you want. The men's team for the United States, I'll talk about them more once it gets closer to the tournament. But let's just talk about some of the groups and who to watch out for as possible sleeper teams. Group A, France, United States, Guinea, New Zealand. That New Zealand team is not bad. Neither is Guinea. Guinea is one of those countries that no one knows about, but they're actually growing the game really well, and that's how they got here. The United States are probably the second best team in the group. France is France. That's all I'm going to say. They might even have Mbappe. If they have Mbappe, no one's beating them. I like France and the United States. Watch out for the Ghanaians. I think they will cause some problems. Africa, in terms of under 23s, have a lot of solid teams. Guinea is one of them. New Zealand's not bad either, but to be fair, Oceania is horrible in terms of quality for the most part, other than Solomon Islands, Tahiti maybe. I think those would be the only two that would really come close, but because Australia, remember, does not play in Oceania. So France, United States, Guinea, New Zealand, we'll talk about the rosters when they come out in the next couple of weeks. Group B, Argentina, Morocco, Iraq, and Ukraine. The Iraqis are the sleeper here. Morocco and Argentina are going to be the favorites. Ukraine and Iraq, first of all, they play each other, which that's the perfect way to start this, because say Iraq wins, because the Iraqis are not bad. Neither is you. There's no team in this tournament that I know of that is that terrible. When you go into some tournaments, think about this. The Euros, or the World Cup. There were teams that we knew were going to be bad. We knew that. I don't know if there's a team that's considerably that terrible. Argentina's winning this group. The Ukrainians are an interesting one because they have a lot of young players, but they don't have a good domestic league. Same with Morocco and Iraq, but the Moroccans just know how to play at a higher level. I would say Argentina, Morocco, but the Iraqis, I think, are the dark horse, for sure. Group C, which is my favorite group of the tournament, don't ask why. We have Uzbekistan, Spain, Egypt, and the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic are an awesome story. I will say this. They're probably the worst team here. And they might get beat. I take back what I said. This is the worst team in the tournament, other than Group D. Yeah, it's probably the Dominican. They might have a lot of players that no one knows. But that's a good thing. If you want to think about a team that could rise in CONCACAF over the next couple of years, the Dominican Republic will be front and center for that. And there's a lot of Caribbean nations in CONCACAF that have struggled in recent years. El Salvador is one of them. We saw how bad they were in the Gold Cup. And there's a lot of Caribbean nations that are getting better. And at the forefront of the small Caribbean islands getting better is now going to be the Dominican, because they've qualified for the men's Olympic soccer tournament. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but for how decent of how much quality they have to have in the under 23s, like, let's look at this. Hold on. I want to look at this now. The under 20s tournament for this was actually pretty good. Look how many good teams there are in this. Costa Rica, Honduras, Panama, Mexico. The Cubans are good. El Salvador, Costa Rica. Look where the freaking Dominican is. This is ridiculous. And if you go back to the group stage, look where the Dominicans played in. The Dominicans went out. Let me find them again. I forgot where they are. The Dominican Republic. They qualified from the U20 championship qualifiers. They started it off by beating El Salvador, a solid El Salvador team. They beat Jamaica, another good team. They beat Guatemala. They got beaten like a drum against the United States, but we know how good the United States under-20s national team can honestly be one of the best under-20s teams in the world, and like 5 of them can probably be on the USMNT. But we know the United States would get beaten up in the under-20 World Cup. What I'm saying is that the Dominican team is not bad, and they know how to win big matches. Now, I think they're going to get possibly beaten like a drum, but we'll see. Uzbekistan, they're a sleeper. Spain are going to win this group. The Egyptians, I think, are going to be a sleeper as well. There's a lot of sleeper teams, but I'm going to go with Spain, Uzbekistan. And then Group D, the Mali national team. The Mali national system is something special. They were this close to getting into the 2022 World Cup. This close. They're doing okay they've done solid in AFCON. They've made it to like the quarterfinals of AFCON in recent years. They're going to be in the running to make the 2026 World Cup, which they will be officially be put on the map as one of the better African countries. I think they make it out over the Paraguayans. I'm going to say Japan and Mali because both of those teams are really good. But of course, the Israelis are not bad either. Remember, Israel had to go through Europe, and Europe is not easy. So there's no bad team in this group. Very balanced group. The Japanese, we know how their national system has been in recent years. But the Olympics are going to be so much fun. I like the Japanese and probably Mali to get out of that group. But once again, it's a wait and see thing. And that's what you have to really think about in these types of tournaments. To golf, because we like golf on this channel. And let's go over to the betting odds for the PGA Championship 2024 from Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, let's get these ads out the way. What am I watching out for? A lot of people have considered this. We're just showing the betting odds for some of the players here. A lot of people will actually stop sharing this real quick because I got to locate my players again for the right odds. A lot of people have considered this tournament as a 2-horse race between Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler. You can't blame the idea. I just don't agree with it, really. Because there's so many quality players that have looked great recently that can elevate their game enough to win a tournament like this. But let's go over my predictions. You know how we do it on this channel. We do 2 favorites and 2 sleepers. The first favorite pick, which usually are the players at better odds than plus 3,000. That big group of the first 15. And I'm just trying to find out who I would pick down here to make... Because here's how we're doing the long shots this year. The goal is to have these guys finish in the top 10. I think that's fair. I actually think it's very fair. There's a couple guys down here who have big major experience that I really like. Some of them are not even in good form. You just gotta like how they play. Of course, that requires supreme accuracy and good ball striking and length. The first favorite to make himself known. I'm picking Scheffler for this. I'm kidding. We're not. You know we don't pick the top 2 here, chat. First pick, Ludwig Aberg at plus 1,200. Yes, I am picking the tall man from Sweden to win a major. I'm doing it. He was the first name that I thought of. First guy that came to mind as an underrated top 10 player pick out of pure quality and to probably win it, Ludwig Aberg. He came to mind first. I gotta admit it. Ludwig Aberg is my first pick. Great ball striker, hits it long. His name has come on the scene more recently for his play in the Ryder Cup. He's looked great in tournaments throughout the year. He's been really good on the European circuit. I am going with Ludwig Aberg. Now, as per tradition, we like to pick the Americans. And I was down between... Well, the 3 I was going to pick for the second spot was either Koepka, McIlroy, or Scheffler. Koepka's in awesome form and knows how to perform in these things. Rory can't win a major at this point. Or hasn't... he's been close, but... I don't know. I just don't think that's the right pick. And Scotty's too boring. Because everyone's going to pick him. I'm going to go with McIlroy. I'm not picking a LIV player. No offense to LIV. I think the LIV system is cool. But you got to like the dude is in better form from the PGA in this situation. I like Brooks. He hits it long. His irons are great. He's been more healthy recently. He's been enjoying himself on the LIV tour. I just don't have enough confidence in a lot of the LIV players still. That's just me. I think Brooks is going to be very competitive. One of the more competitive players in the field. He's won majors. I've witnessed it myself. I was at the PGA 5 years ago. That right there. This way. There we go. That is from the PGA Championship 5 years ago. I still have... Actually, I can't even bring it down because everything's going to fall. Still have my freaking ticket from the event. I've witnessed it in person. Of how good Brooks Koepka is. I like his odds. But I'm going to go Rory anyway. I'm going to go Rory McIlroy. The experience and everything, I'm going with him. Now, usually this is where the fun starts for me. This is where it gets tough. You go with guys who have been in great form. Do you go with guys who have been in okay form, but have had experience on the golf course? I mean, the tee times are out. Michael Block, I bet everyone's going to be soothing over this man. But for me, when in doubt for some of these things, you gotta go with the dudes who have been in great form in majors themselves, right? I just don't know what this dude's odds are. Because I wanted to pick Colin Morikawa, but I think his odds are too good for him to be picked for this round. Yeah, he's too good to be picked. Watch out for him too. We do over plus 5,000 with this stuff. And we usually like to go really crazy with the other one. The first over 5,000 odd player is going to be a man who competed well at the Masters. A man who knows how to get the job done in certain situations, sometimes cannot finish the job, but knows how to perform consistently over 4 days. The first sleeper pick is Sahith Theegala today, chat. A man who has come on the scene very recently, knows how to hit the ball long, strikes irons well, not that good of a putter from my memory, but he still knows how to get the job done, and I think Sahith will be a top 10 player if everything comes together again. Because you saw how he played at the Masters. Coming off a form like that, you gotta have confidence in the dude. So I'm going with Sahith Theegala. And my other pick, and I'm going to try and write this all down now, because I actually didn't have these written down. My other pick is going to be a man who has been in great form recently. Okay. Actually, he finished recently. I was wrong about Theegala. He finished well in a recent tournament. And then he played all right at the Masters. I was talking about the RBC Heritage. I thought I had the Masters up. But when you have a guy who could be like decent in these majors, I mean, you could talk about guys who've been in decent form recently. Xander Schauffele, Ben On. You could talk about multiple other pieces that have been in awesome form recently. You could talk about Sun Jae-im, Jason Day, Mackenzie Hughes. But I'm going to go with my other pick as someone who's been really, really good recently. I am going with a Canadian today. As I'm writing my picks down once again. And my last pick, the reach pick, is going to be Taylor Pendrith. A guy who has finished in a win and a top 10 in his last 2 starts. He knows how to perform on big stages. Very recently, he's won on the PGA Tour. Remember that? He won very recently. Because he went out and won the CJ Cup. He finished in the top 10 at a major event in Wells Fargo. And he's going to be playing in the PGA this week. Pendrith's odds, I don't know what they are, yet they're plus 12,000. A guy who I think can be relied on decently well. Now, granted, I would not recommend betting on this, but that's just my picks. So my 2 favorites are Aberg and McIlroy, with my reach picks being to do well, Theegala and Taylor Pendrith today. So that's my picks. Enough on golf, because I don't know if a lot of people pay attention to that. It is time for the playoffs to continue to be talked about. And let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm trying to have my screen show the right thing. Oh my days. We're starting with hockey, because this has been more fun for me as a viewer, as an analyst, whatever you want to call it. Oh my God. What is going on with the Carolina Hurricanes? You know, the 1-goal games were going to start to continue to be a trend eventually. The trend was going to stop. Carolina, I talked about them on Friday. I said they were going to win at least 1 game. But 2? And they've been in awesome form in front of the net. Carolina, and from the last time I was here, I was in my kitchen last time. Maybe I was cooking something with the Hurricanes. I'm back in my regular bedroom. The Hurricanes have won back-to-back to make this series interesting? The Hurricanes? What happened yesterday? Very simple. Rangers stopped playing hockey. And you can see it from this stat. First period, Hurricanes were even. Hurricanes had more shots, but the Rangers got that shorthanded goal to go up 1-0. But I have not, for the majority of the playoffs, have not seen a team get that much outplayed in a third period than what the Hurricanes did to the Rangers in period 3 last night. I haven't. Hurricanes, better on the attack, better in defense, better in shot blocking, better in every statistic you can possibly think of. We started with Trouba unassisted, but then Jordan Stahl, lack of concentration leads to Jordan Stahl, who just came on the ice. Backhand finish, goal number 1. Evgeny Kuznetsov, tap in. Martinuk, goal 3. And then the empty netter by Martin Nakas? I don't know. Gets the 4th, and the Hurricanes win by a score of 4-1. But you could see some stats are better with the Rangers. Giveaways. Big stat here. They gave away the puck a lot. They were more physical, yeah, but they were outplayed in the third period by the Hurricanes, and they had to pay for it. Last night, we also had the Dallas Stars, who went out and won against the Colorado Avalanche to go up 3-1. And guess what? They won 5-1. First 2 games were close, and I said this series is going to be more balanced. Boy, was I wrong, because Dallas has come to play, and I am all for it. The team that I picked to win the Stanley Cup Finals are at it again, and they've done it with a lot of solid contributors. Let's look at last night. But before we do last night, we had the big news about Valerie Nichushkin, who is out for 6 months, suspended 6 months for drug abuse. Which then we found out during the second intermission of the Ranger game. And then we get to this. The first period, Stars were better. More balanced, but the Stars were better. And then the second period came, and then you saw this. Wyatt Johnston, who's been great in the playoffs, grabs his second of the night. The Miro Heiskanen grabs the third. Casey Middlestat, who finally showed some life for Colorado, makes it 3-1. But Evgeny Dadonov gets to the 4th, and then Sam Steele, empty netter, gets the 5th. The depth has been the big story for the Dallas Stars. They've looked great. They completely outplayed the Avalanche. You've seen these stats. Other than the physicality, which is odd because Dallas likes to be physical, every stat, for the most part, is in favor of Dallas. I mean, Wyatt Johnston's been great. But you really don't have someone who's competed with Johnston for the majority of this series. Injuries and all of this other things that are going on are really hurting Colorado. That's going to be the reason why they don't win this series. If they can come back, it will be crazy. But it will have to start with Game 5 tomorrow night. Remember, the Rangers don't play tomorrow. They play on Thursday. All eyes will be on Colorado tomorrow when they go back to Dallas, Texas, to try and stay alive against the Stars. An Avalanche team that won Game 1, remember that, they won Game 1, have dropped 3 straight, and they'll have to win to stay alive in the playoffs. Over in the top right, well done, Florida. No, I really underestimated what this Florida team can do. I really did. Oh my days. 6-2. Blowout. I said it was going to be close. Not this game. This game was. A late winner on Mother's Day sealed the deal for Florida to go up 3-1 and could possibly seal the deal tonight against the Boston Bruins in Florida. Let's go over the last game. Great game, by the way. Back and forth all the way. But a goal late by Alexander Barkov, assisted by 2 players who weren't even on the team at the beginning of the season. And Kyle Okposo, who was traded from the Sabres, and Vladimir Tarasenko, who was traded from Ottawa. 3 straight Florida goals from Lundell, Bennett, and Barkov. Grab the win after Pasternak and Carlo scored the opener. Look at the shots on goal number, 41-18. That's when you know a team deserves to go out there and win. Very balanced in almost every other category, but 41-18. Outrageous. Panthers get it done. They won Game 4 and will have a chance to seal the deal tonight in Game 5 at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Going to be a great game. I'm expecting a lot. I think Florida wins. It seals the series. But then down here, what a weird series this has been. You started off with 3 straight 1-goal games heading to 2 games going to Vancouver and, of course, 1 going to Edmonton. Edmonton will try to get this series back on level terms as they attempt to do it tonight at 9:30. What am I watching out for? Can the depth do something? Like, listen, I know McDavid and Draisaitl are great. But when you look at this game, I mean, look who's done stuff. Elias Lindholm, Brock Besser again, Elias Lindholm. It was 2 players scoring the goal in this game. But who saved them? Draisaitl scored. Evan Bouchard and the Matthias Ekholm. The depth actually doing something for Edmonton. But Edmonton did get a little bit robbed. Look at the shot counter. 45-18, you still lose. That's impressive. For Edmonton's sake. They're getting chances. They just can't convert. They've been outplayed in terms of physicality. They give away the puck a lot. They don't block a lot of shots. And it's going to hurt them in the long run. Look at the third period and look what the score was in the third period. How many goals were scored in the third period from Edmonton? 1. How many shots did they have? 22. I have never seen that before. That's incredible. But Arturas Silovs? I'm not good with the names. I'm not good with the hockey names, I'll be honest with y'all. Saves the day for Vancouver, who've had goalie problems in terms of injuries because they're without Thatcher Demko throughout the playoffs. I think Edmonton wins tonight and puts this series back to level. And hopefully on Friday we may have some series completed because this has been nuts. Absolutely crazy start to continuation, at least, of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then we go to the NBA, which had a great game last night. And we'll talk about them first with the Thunder and the Mavericks. What a game last night. It's been close all the way. But Game 4 was great. And the big story from Game 4 was missed free throws. 50% from the line was a little bit over 50% was the Dallas Mavericks at the free throw line over the Oklahoma City Thunder when they played the Thunder last night. It costed them. Thunder win by 4. It's been back and forth. Thunder won Game 1, back-to-back wins for the Mavs. Thunder stay alive and keep themselves in it. As the series goes to 2-2, heading back to OKC. Oh, what a time it is for these playoffs. Because this series has been awesome. You've Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Shai Gilgeous? No. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing his butt off. A guy who you could very much argue is robbed of the MVP. Let's look at the big point scores. You had Shai, ground grab 34. Chet Holmgren playing great with 18. LeGwent's Dort, 17 points. 14 from Jalen Williams. On the opposite side, big nights from P.J. Washington, who has been emerging these playoffs. Derek Jones, 17 points. Luka Doncic, only 18 points. Kyrie Irving, 9. Is Kyrie Irving turning into Devin Booker towards the end of this series? Because that game is terrible. Big struggles from a ton of other players. But in the end, missed free throws will haunt them. Also, 6 for 20. Jesus. 2 missed free throws. Big from Luka. But let's go over the number again. 12 of 23. 11 missed free throws. I'm begging my pardon. 11 missed free throws. Incredible game last night. An incredible series. I'm intrigued to see how the rest of that goes. Boston and Cleveland. Cleveland without their best player in Donovan Mitchell. In Game 4, they went out and lost 109-102. And a more balanced game than I thought. Because you would expect without a team like Cleveland without their best player, they'd be very screwed. I don't think that happened. Listen, it was a close game. But, I don't know. Jason Tatum, with LeBron in attendance, dropped 33. He did a lot of things right. You had depth going off around him with Jaylen Brown, who's overpaid to heck, and Drew Holiday, who had 16 points with a very respectable night. And on the opposite side, you kind of had people who played well in terms of scoring production, but couldn't get it done because of the depth. Darius Garland played well in replacing Donovan Mitchell for the night. Karis LeVert, 19. Evan Mobley, 19. Good stuff from both of them. 50% shooting on 9 of 18 is concerning. 1 of 8 from Karis LeVert. Not talking about it. Max Strus, 15 points. All shots were made from, I believe, from 3. Struggling night from Isaac Okoro, 1 of 8. Kind of selling. But not many other players doing anything other than those 4. And it's going to cost Cleveland as they drop another game and will be playing for their playoff lives in Game 5. That's on Wednesday, and I'm expecting Boston to seal the deal at home. A team that's only lost, I believe, 5 games at home all season, 4 or 5. It's impressive, and they're an awesome team to watch. But, man, what a series this could have been. This could have been even more crazy if Donovan Mitchell plays last night. I think they would have this series could very much be 2-2. You saw Game 2 played out. Cleveland's going to need a performance like that to stay alive in this series. Downstairs in the other series, if this will load, the Nuggets have come back strong against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because that makes sense. No one has won a home game. And, well, it's going to get more interesting later on. The Timberwolves started off by putting up 106 apiece in the first 2 games before getting absolutely godsmacked in Game 3 and a very balanced Game 4. That makes you question what the hell is really going on. A game that was solid. Really solid. And, well, it turns out that Nikola Jokic came to play, as did Aaron Gordon's 27 points. Good game from him as well on 11 of 12, a very respectable night. Jamal Murray, 19. Justin Holiday and Christian Braun off the bench. Well done by the entire team. Anthony Edwards can go up and drop 44 all he wants. But if no one else is really getting over 20 points, it's kind of hard to do anything. Cat, 5 of 18. 5 of 12, Mike Conley. It's not really going to get it done. But yeah, that was Game 4. No one's won a home game yet. I think that trend could change this tonight. I think the Nuggets, they play tonight, 10:30 Eastern. I think the Nuggets win tonight. I think they really take it to the Timberwolves. You don't want a team like them that are in form to go out there and win a big game. And I think the Nuggets do get it tonight. And how could I talk playoffs without talking about the New York Knicks, who got annihilated on Sunday? And 2, a very happy version of me. That really set the tone for the day because, oh my days, the Knicks look bad without OG. Wow, and wow again. Unbelievable. Dante DiVincenzo did absolutely nothing. Miles McBride, 6 of 17. Josh Hart, 1 for 6. That's your big playoff contributor? How much did this team really miss OG Anunoby? It's ridiculous. The Knicks get ran off the court, but led by the opposing Tyrese Halliburton, who only had 20 points, which is kind of low for him. Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, who has been great this series for the Indiana Pacers in terms of defensive structure, in terms of just play overall. Andrew Nembhard been decent off the bench. As a starter, but he's been more off the bench because there's been some players playing better. Miles Turner doing his thing. Pascal Siakam, not a great game from Pascal, only 14 points. But listen, when the depth is scoring, you kind of don't need it. A big night for him. Pacers won 121-89 to set up Game 5 tonight, which is just do or die for the Pacers. How big of a win on the road this could be for Indiana, for the first road win of this series, would save their entire possible run. Because if Indiana wins this, they are winning this series in 6. If the Knicks win it, I think this goes to 7. But we will see. Knicks could not get it done in Indiana. Now it's up to the Knicks to try and get back their 2 wins they dropped by getting one at home tonight. I think the Knicks win tonight. I'm going to say by less than 10. It's going to be a back and forth game overall, but I'm really excited to see how that game goes. So an action-packed episode featuring various topics in sports around the world even. But that is where we'll have to call it quits. Because that is the end of today's episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. For now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. See you guys Friday. Goodbye, everyone.